I'm probably going to eat my words on this, but I'm going to try to attempt to show you that the head amp level setting that you utilize on your mixer does in fact have an effect on the signal to noise ratio, and depending on how you want to look at it, the gain before feedback potential, more the stability or feedback stability of the system as a whole. I am utilizing the cheapest mixer in my arsenal, a wonderful Behringer PMP 3000. I call it my little moneymaker. I like this thing. What can I say? Let's go ahead and get this thing going here. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the microphone here. And I have a guaranteed feedback system going on here. I know that that's going to happen. So what you'll notice with channel 1 is that as I unmute it, it will have a significant amount of hiss, and it should be just on the verge of feeding back. So let's go ahead and do that. So it's right on the verge of feeding back. It's right there. Stable enough. You can hear the hiss for sure. Off. On. So, whatever. Moving on. Channel 2. Set up in the normal, conventional manner in which you're supposed to, the textbook way of setting up the mixer. It's right on the verge of feedback. I have some adjustability. I can bring it up just an ever so slight bit. And there it goes. And, right in there is pretty close. Bring it down just a little bit more. Yeah, right in there. All right, stable enough. Channel 3. This one's the one with the head amp that we're cooking. Pay attention to this light right there. You're going to notice real quick that it comes on as I just touch this knob. It'll... So we get 2 frequencies of feedback now, but it's prevalent at the lower frequency now as opposed to the higher one, or the more mid-rangey one. You can just see the light illuminating. I'm going to PFL this, and you can see the low-end feedback there. I am going to dial this out. That's where it's clean at. Obviously a hair trigger. There is almost zero adjustability. It's either kind of off or on with the feedback, but there's just very little stability. Once it starts to go, it just runs. So there's that. So we're going to unplug the microphone, and now we're going to plug in the tone signal. It's just a 1 kilohertz tone, just to get an idea of the relative levels between the 3 channels. So let's go ahead and bring it into 70, 75. Okay, channel 2. Try to keep this all in frame. 76. 75. Go back to channel 1 and do this one more time. 75. 75. A little lower, about 74, 75, right in there. For all intents and purposes, they have roughly the same gain before feedback potential. But what is very different between them is that channel 1 definitely has much more hiss and noise. You can hear it just by turning the channel on and off. Channel 2 is very clean, very ideal. No hiss whatsoever. It's fine. Channel 3 is just a hair trigger. There is definitely something different about running this head amp as hot as it is that causes it to just be a little bit more unstable, and it feeds back at a slightly different frequency. You might say, well, why not adjust the master send so that way you can utilize more range out of this? Maybe that's it. I don't think that matters. I think it's going to do the same thing no matter what, and that's all there is to it. The only thing that's different between these 3 is the head amp gain settings, and of course the relative levels as needed to get to that 75 dB or whatever. I think it's important to note that channel 1, you can't use it in a recording setting, and you probably shouldn't use it in a live setting either that way. Channel 3, you're cooking the head amps. It definitely changes the way that the system as a whole works. It's not as good as number 2, which is set up in the more ideal way. set your incoming signal so that the meter reads 0 dB or whatever the reference level that you have, minus 18 dBFS if you're on a digital mixer or whatnot. But it's just some food for thought.